Water heaters are obviously a modern day convenience, right? We use them for washing clothing. We use them for washing dishes. We use them for taking showers and baths, washing our faces, you name it, right? We don't really think a lot about our hot water until we wake up to get that shower and we have no hot water. So the reality is a water heater is a very simple device. A lot of times you hear them called hot water heaters, which is kind of funny because they heat the water. They don't heat hot water. That's a little industry humor that we always tend to talk about. Now, when we get into tankless water heaters, which are amazing, they're a little bit more complex. However, today I want to talk about tanked water heaters, the traditional tanked water heater. Now, they're in just about every home in the United States. And they're either going to be run by gas, either natural gas or propane, or they're going to be electric. So the one that I'm standing next to here is a gas water heater, ran off of natural gas. Now, we pulled this out of a home, we replaced it. It's not that old. In fact, if you look at the exterior of this, we cut a section open so we could see inside, but if you look at the exterior, it looks perfectly fine. It doesn't look aged at all. From the exterior, this shell that they wrap a water heater in looks great. However, when we cut it open and we look inside, totally different story. This water heater is about 12 years old, so not that old at all. Now, water heaters traditionally come with a 6-year warranty on the tank. Now, let me tell you a little bit about some of the components of the water heater and work out and go into the tank. So this is the jacket. This is what it's wrapped in. This basically makes it look nice and pretty and protects it, all right? In here, you can see this is insulation. Now, this is an older water heater. So newer water heaters, in the last several years, they came out with new R-value standards, insulation standards. So there's more insulation. So the water heaters actually grew in size, not the tank. A 30-gallon, a 40-gallon, 50-gallon, 75, 100, etc. The tank is the same. The tank itself that holds the water has not enlarged or changed. It's still a 50-gallon is a 50-gallon. What's gotten bigger is the distance from the exterior of the tank to the shell because it's more insulation. So what kind of issues does that present? Well, you may have a 50-gallon water heater in a space that will not handle the new 50-gallon water heater sizes. We do see that, or 30-gallon, whatever size it may be. It gets put into a space in the home, either a space on the platform in the garage next to a furnace or a heat pump, air handler. It could be in a mechanical closet, could be in an interior closet, could be in your attic or your basement. Some of these locations were designed specifically for that water heater, and now they're larger, and in a lot of cases, that's where we see it makes sense to go to a tankless. With that said, back to the components. This is the jacket, the outer wrap. This is the insulation, all right? Right in here, this is the tank. Now, the tank is made of, you guessed it, steel. Very heavy gauge steel. You're dealing with pressure and temperature, so it has to be able to withstand those two things to operate safe and effectively. What does metal not do well with? Water, right? So here we are, we have a steel tank and we fill it with water, and it has water in it all the time. That there is why there's only a 6-year warranty on the tank in most cases. Yes, you can purchase and upgrade and invest in a extended warranty, but the standard warranty is 6 years. Now, there's certain things in this water heater that will help it last a very long time if the maintenance is done correctly. Yes, there is maintenance that needs to be done on a water heater annually at the least. And I'll go over that in a minute. But for right now, one of the things they do to protect the steel tank from water is it's glass lined. Most of them have a glass lining so it's not water touching the metal directly. That helps prolong the life. The other thing, it's going to be hard to see, but in here there's a thing called an anode rod, and it comes down right through the top. You would remove this and it's right there. Now the anode rod, for lack of a better term, is a sacrificial lamb, so to speak, meaning it goes in and it's made up of similar metals, and what happens is the water attacks that. So everything in the water that is going to corrode metal focuses its attention on corroding that. Once that's gone, which it clearly is in this one, it's been eaten up and corroded and gone. you have nothing else for that water to attack. So now it will start attacking the tank. And that's where you get tanks that eventually, rust through and leak. And that's when you come out to a water heater, you see water leaking out of the bottom, or it's somewhere on the tank. That's what the cause is. Here's one of the maintenance items that should be done on your water heater. The anode rod should be changed every 3 to 5 years. 3 to 5 years is a variance because it all depends on the type of water you have, right? Where we are, our water is very, very hard, right? So we're probably closer to a 3-year change out on an anode rod. The maintenance item that should be done yearly, possibly twice a year, depending on what kind of water you have, the hardness of the water, and also do you have any pre-filtration, pre-descalers, things like that, soft water in your home that is being treated to help reduce some of the hard water conditions. Would determine, should I do this every 6 months or should I do it yearly is fine, but is drain the water heater. There's a hose bib on your water heater. You connect the hose, you open it up, you drain. However, I will tell you, if you do not do that from your first year forward, you are going to have problems. The problems you're going to have is you're going to have hard water deposits building up. See, when you flush your water heater yearly, you help flush out some of those hard water deposits that are starting to build up and form inside the tank. They develop, but they're at a size where they can flush right out of the tank. So you're flushing out the sediment and everything that forms in that tank. If you have not done that and it's a couple years in, and you try and do it, you may find that no water comes out, or you can't open the valve because hard water deposits have already formed in that valve. And so it's just one of those things you should do from the beginning. All right, so that's the 6 months to 1 year. Simple thing you can do yourself, or you can have professionals do it, licensed plumbers. But if you do it yourself, simple process. Garden hose, open the valve, drain it, let it refill. Of course, you're gonna have to shut the thing down and everything like that while you're doing that. The other thing that is really important to check and maintain on a water heater is the TMP, temperature and pressure. This is a safety. And this thing actually bleeds open if the pressure gets too high. And it will release outside to this pipe. Now this pipe, if it's in your garage, it may terminate on the floor. Ideally, you want to run it outside of your home. If it's in the interior of your home, the attic, the basement, it's going to exit your home, all right? Ideally, it should. This obviously we cut out for removal, but this would 90 degree down and drop to the ground. It would not be like this, because if this releases, you have a lot of hot water coming out, and obviously you don't want that coming out at head level, body level, or anything like that. You want it to safely exit your home. But this should be checked just to make sure there's no signs of wear or seepage, or that it's bleeding itself, right? It's constantly doing that. So something to just keep an eye on and watch and maintain. Also, inspecting your cold water, hot water, inlets, outlets, connections to make sure there's no corrosion or leaking or anything like that there. And then there's a gas valve. There's things that you do there, test for gas leaks, everything like that. Make sure everything's working as it should. Now, I'll get you a close-up of this, but to see the inside of this water heater, and when you do see it, you're gonna be amazed. You're gonna be probably not amazed in a good way. You're gonna be a little put off because it's nasty inside here. And this is the water that we're cleaning our clothes in, doing our dishes, and bathing in. Some of the things, the top of this tank actually looks like a cave. You know, when you see those growths on the top of the cave, I mean, it's the same thing, all right? And the bottom of this probably has a good 4 to 5 inches of scale that has built up. Now, here's the problem with that, is that scale becomes a layer of insulation. So now the burner, which is on the bottom, has to heat all the way through that scale. Takes longer to heat. Your water heater becomes less efficient. You start using more gas, or if it's electric, you start using more electricity to get hot water. You may find it takes longer to get hot water, right? After you use a bunch of hot water, maybe somebody's taking a shower, you're doing some laundry and whatnot, and then your water doesn't seem to get back to being the temperature and ready to go for the next round as quickly as it used to. A lot of the reason is the scale, and it takes longer to heat that water. Up here, this is a chunk of scale that we pulled out of the bottom of this. And the bottom of this water heater is just filled with this, right? And this looks kind of like that stuff that's great for diabetes, that toffee or Candy Crunch or whatever stuff. I mean, it kind of looks like that. It's really just not as appetizing. But this stuff here is scale, and it just breaks apart. But this is all in the bottom of the water heater. It is nasty stuff, and this is a natural condition that happens to a water heater over time. To get a close enough shot of this, obviously we're gonna have to cut me out, but this is a piece of the scale that we pulled out of that water heater. And again, this is all over the bottom of that water heater, about 3, maybe 5 inches of it lining the bottom of that water heater. And the only way to get this out is when it's in its very smallest form, and you can fit this through a garden hose by flushing it. So as you can see, once it starts getting like this, you are not going to flush it. When it's little pieces like this, right, you can't even see that, I don't think. It'll flush right out when you flush your water heater. And always remember, you can flush the water heater yourself if you're handy, if you're comfortable with it. If you're not, call a professional, let them do it for you. Super important that you do yearly flushes of your water heater. Also super important to realize, if you have a water heater that's been in for probably, I would say, 3 years, you might be able to have some success with it up to year 3 if your water is not too hard. But if it's been 3 years or more and you have not started flushing your water heater already, you're probably past that point. Again, that's when I would call in a professional to determine if it's at a point where it can still be flushed or not. So again, these are little scale cakes, nasty and not good for your water heater. Hopefully you'll learn a little something on how to prevent them, reduce them, and delay them in your water heater. Now, what you don't see is the inside of your water heater, right? You only see the outside. But all of this is happening inside water heaters. And if you're doing the right maintenance, if when you have a water heater installed, you put a pre-filter on, like a descaler filter, or you have soft water, or both, if you flush your water heater yearly at a minimum, and you change this anode rod every 3 to 5 years, you will prevent this from happening for a longer period of time. All of these conditions are happening in there, yet you're doing the things to mitigate it, and you'll get a longer life out of your water heater, you'll get longer efficiency out of your water heater, and overall, you'll have a very well-performing hot water heater without really having to worry about losing hot water, waking up, taking a cold shower. Now, there are certain things that can go wrong with the burner and things like that. All natural. It's a mechanical device, right? Just like our vehicles, we could be doing all the maintenance in the world and things could still go wrong. However, when you properly maintain anything, like your vehicle, the odds of something going wrong go down greatly, and we tend to get a longer life, less trouble out of the device. It's no different with a hot water heater.